We were still living in Natarita, and we were working for the same trucking company, McFarland and Hollinger, that Jamie worked for years. And they asked him if he could move over to Moab and work out of their Moab office. If Jamie was going to work over there, we needed to move over there and keep our family together, not have him work 5 days and then come home, because I don't like that, and neither did he. And we didn't ask you kids. I guess we just thought that you would be happy to move if we did, and we forgot about how hard it is to break in new schools. And I know that all 3 of the kids had trouble, but we all did survive. I loaded you 3 kids up in the car, and we went to Moab to see if I could find a place for us to rent. We found one house that was available. We went to look at it, and it had a nice yard, and we had our pet goose, Zipper. Shirley told us that if we didn't bring Zipper with us, she wouldn't come. She'd stay there and take care of Zipper. We went around to all the places, and we just found one house because the uranium boom was still on, and it was hard to find a place to live in Moab. So we went to look at this house, and it had a dog run in the back, a nice one that Zipper could live in that dog run and be perfectly happy. We knew it. But we went to look inside the house, and that was a different story. The house was basically in good shape, but it was really dirty. The people that lived, evidently they'd had a turn for the worst economically, and they couldn't afford the house anymore. They were just gonna leave it, and that had been repossessed by the mortgage holder. They had a set of twins that were about 2 years old, maybe 18 months. All over that house, their favorite food must have been peanut butter and jelly, because peanut butter and jelly finger marks was everywhere that they could reach. On every wall, every door, and it was dirty too, besides the peanut butter and jelly. It had a bath and a half. One bathroom was also the laundry room, and it had a toilet in it. And that toilet, I don't think had ever been washed as long as they lived there. It had moldy, it was awful. And you had to hold your nose when you went in there because you could smell that toilet. And the house was all just dirty. And the yard was unkept, and so we looked at it, and I don't remember what the kids said, but they were happy to think that we'd have to stay in Natarita, I think. But anyway, we started home to Natarita. You had to go over the La Salle Mountains down into Paradox Valley. We were driving along and discussing how dirty the house was, and all of a sudden, into my mind came this message just for me. And it said, "Turn around and go back." I thought, I'm not turning around and going back, but it said it again with the addition of, "Turn around and go back and rent that house." And here I am going down the road and thinking, no, I don't want that old dirty house. But it became so strong, and it just wouldn't leave me alone, that we turned around and went back to Moab and rented that house. And I hated every inch of it. It was one of my difficult times to obey the prompting that I knew where it came from. Heavenly Father was prompting me to go rent that house. We rented it, and I think even my boys learned to scrub walls. It was so dirty. And James was old enough that he worked in the yard and tried to get it so it was presentable. And we had lived there, and then we had moved back to Natarita. We stayed there for the school year, and it took me years, months, to finally figure out why we went back and rented that house. Because it was that move, and then when the job ended that Jamie was driving truck, we moved back to Natarita, and they put him in charge of the gateway garage, depot there. And then when that ended, they sent him back to Tooele, where the main office is, which then a job came available in Wendover. They took Jamie and I to Wendover to show us where it was. And we still had that mobile home, and so we moved it to Wendover and found a place to park it, because you also couldn't find a house to rent in Wendover. And we sat down there, and they had rented one of the old airport hangars for their trucks and stuff for here in Wendover. And it was in the afternoon, and I think they spelled Wendover wrong, and it should have been W-I-N-D over, because they were having one of those awful windy days, terrible. And there was a chain link fence around that airport hangar. And so I didn't ever get out and go into, with Jamie, because that was man talk they were talking. And I sat there and watched that chain link fence get covered with people's garbage. Such a terrible impression. And then again, the kids were gonna have to break in a new school and everything. But it was a bad introduction, all that garbage blowing. But we moved to Wendover. And then I think we were here just one school year again, maybe 1.5. And then we moved to Grantsville. And still working for McFarland and Hollinger. But it's because of, well, I won't say because of that dirty house we rented, but it's because that I obeyed and turned around and went back and rented it, that we ended up in Wendover and Grantsville, and truly put down roots that benefited our children. And so sometimes you get answers to prayers, and you never know why or what, and then sometimes you get answers that you can figure out that the benefits don't come for years. And sometimes you just never know, but you obey. And it's awful hard to tell the difference. And you have to make a conscious effort to tell yourself that you're going to work at knowing when you're being prompted by the Spirit.